Today's topic is using tables. Tables are one of the most common elements that you'll find in a lot of web pages. Let's say we work at KTU Channel 2 and we want to put something on the internet that says what the weather's going to be for the next 7 days. Now typically when you see that, if you go out to the website and up at the top they have a little picture, right, of what the weather kind of looks like. If it's cloudy, then they put a cloud there. If it's raining, they put a cloud with some rain, right? So it's all visual. Then they put a high temperature, and then a low temperature, and then a chance of precipitation, maybe. Usually up at the top, there's also, like today is Friday, so they have the day of the week up there. If I were a newscaster in Portland, it would be really easy. It's like the easiest job ever. It's either raining, right? Or it just stopped raining, or it's getting ready to rain. Those are the three things I would say all the time. Those are your choices. So again, how do we set this up in a tabular format? And again, each one of these lines is going to have its own set of cells. Let's do a 5-day forecast because I don't think there's anything more to be learned if we do 7. So let's we're going to make this a 5-day forecast, okay? So I'll cover the weekend up for a few days, okay? So the question is, how do we specify this? Well, let's look at this this diagram here. Here we have a new tag. It's called the table tag, and inside the table there's a TR tag, and that's called a table row. Okay. TR stands for table row. So this is the first row in the table. And then there's a TD tag. And these are the columns in that row. Okay, so that first row, if we say row 1, column 1, where would that go? That would be here, right? For your rows then, or your columns, TD is the tag you use for what goes inside the column. So here would be row 1, column 2. And what's kind of hard about this is notice how the columns here in the text are in separate rows. But just like with anything, anytime you have an open tag, you need a closing one. So this table starts with an opening table tag and then closes with one. The row is the same way, and then each of the columns. So what you would see here is a table that has 2 rows and 5 columns. Now when you're using tables, there are some attributes of tables that you use all the time. Basically, you want to say, well, do I want to actually see a border here? If you don't specify a border, then the table's invisible. The text is still there, but the table is not. So if you want a border line around these cells in your table, then you put a number in there, and that number represents pixels. Is it a thin black line or is it thicker? A higher number will give you thicker lines for the border. Then there's things called cell padding, and what that means is if you have some text in a cell, how wide is that? Is it smushed up against the edge of the text or picture in the cell, or is there some breathing room on either side, and top and bottom? So you specify, again in pixels, how much space you want between the edge of the text in the cell and the side of the cell. And then cell spacing is the spacing between the cells. So how much space do you want between each of the cells? And it will draw separate, like little cells there, if you want it to look that way. And the best way to look at this is to try it. But here's a diagram that talks about the difference between cell spacing and cell padding. So the first one is cell spacing. How much space do you want between the cells in the table? So everything that's in the hash lines here would be considered cell spacing. And notice you can't specify top, bottom, left, right. or anything. It all has to be the same all the way around. Then there's cell padding. It's the padding inside the cell between the contents of the cell and the side of the cell. And then finally, the cell contents is the text or the pictures that you have in the website. Okay? Now this table is going to get pretty complicated because we have pictures, we have numbers, we need to worry about cell spacing, color, all of that. With tables and table rows and table data or columns, you can change all these different styles of the table. You can change the font family, the font size, color, the background image. You can align the text, which we'll do a little bit. You can float pictures right and left, or you can float the whole table if you want. If you want your table to go off to the right or left, you can do that. And also the border color. And again, you can use those in any of the table tags, like the table tag, the TR tag, or the TD tag. Any of those are fine. So for example, say you want your table to have a lot of different attributes. You want the border of the table to be really thick, so you put a 10 in there. You also want a lot of space between the cells, so you put 10 in there. And then cell spacing, even more space. For coloring and fonts, you can use the style statement and say, okay, I want the background color to be red, I want the text color to be white, I want the font family to be Dahoma, font size large, border color black, and I want all these things to be aligned in the center. So for everything in that table, it's going to use these different styles to stylize the text in the table. Now that's a little overkill, but you can do this if you want. Okay, so we're going to use 3 similar tables, or 3 similar pages, all using the same table structure and links to each other. Each table must have a different color, font, and border, all of those things. Each page has a 7-day, so we're going to change this to a 5-day weather forecast for a city of your choosing, so you have 3 cities. Like if you check my iPhone right now, I'm watching Puerto Vallarta and Tigard and Orlando, Florida for some reason. My dad lives down in Puerto Vallarta, my mom and dad, and so I always check the weather. It's always really nice. What do we need to know? Well, we need to know the date. When I say date, probably the day of week is fine. Do we really need to know it's February, whatever it is today? Answer is no. Probably just the day of the week. The current conditions as a picture, the high, the low, and the chance of precipitation. So I'm going to help you get started on this one. So I would suggest following along. And we can do Beaverton maybe first. Now our navigation hierarchy is going to be kind of strange. In this website, there's no home page, okay? No home page. All the pages need to link with each other. So from the one page, you'll have links to the other 2 pages. So maybe I have Beaverton here. Here's Puerto Vallarta, and here's Orlando, Florida. And so on the Orlando screen, it's going to tell us the Orlando weather report, but it's also going to have links at the bottom that take me to Puerto Vallarta or Beaverton. So the navigation hierarchy is kind of strange. It's not like our recipe assignment where we had a home page and we went out to these sub pages. Here they're all peers. They're all at the same level. There's no one page in charge. Okay, kind of an odd setup, but that's what we want in this one. Yeah, so skeleton. So open up the skeleton and make a copy of it. So let me get my skeleton. 3. Here's my skeleton. I can copy it. And then maybe what I do here is I create a new folder where I'm going to put all the pictures in. We're going to have lots of pictures in this one. Let's call it A7 weather. So make that folder, and inside that folder, that's where I would paste in our skeleton, but we're going to rename it to, say we do Beaverton first. Okay. So again, what I did is out in my Web 1 folder, or my 2-grade folder, not 2-grade, but for my H drive, my home folder, make a folder called A7 weather, and then make a copy of the skeleton and put it inside, and then rename the skeleton to the web page you want. Now, you don't have to do Beaverton. If you want to do a different one, that's fine. That's just what I'm calling it. So there's your setup. You got the folder. Inside the folder, you have our page. Now, if you double click on a web page, obviously it brings it up in a browser, but in this case, we don't want it to do that. We want to actually open it up so we can edit it. We don't want to look at it in the browser. So I right click on it, and then I say Edit with Notepad. And since I started with my skeleton, notice I have the structure of my page already in place. Make sure if your skeleton did not have the doc type in it, you need to include that. Okay, so let's give this a title. Maybe we'll just call it Weather. Remember, you're kind of limited on the tab of a tab dialog. You can't really put a lot of information there. So I might just say Weather. But here you can be a little bit more descriptive. Maybe a heading one that says Beaverton Weather Report or Beaverton. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to look at it and see what we got. So it's really boring. It's all black and white, but at least it gives us a look at the weather. It'd be kind of nice if it were centered, though, right? Yeah, we're trying to avoid the center tag, so maybe we do it this way. It's a little bit more typing, but style equals text hyphen align colon center. Okay, I save that and then go take a look at that. That's better. Okay. Okay, so we have the 5-day outlook. Now we want to start our table. So let's put our table in. So border equals, and this is how thick we want the line to be. Say maybe 3, and maybe let's do cell padding. Restroom? Yeah. Could you close the door when you leave? It's unlocked, so you'll be able to get back in. Okay. Cell padding. Let's say 5. Give us some wiggle room. And cell spacing. And we'll set that equal to 3. Now, anytime I put an opening tag in, I automatically put the closing tag in, so I don't forget to do that. And then we put in our first table row. And inside that row, we're going to have columns. So I put in my table row. I also want to put in my closing table row. Yeah. Oh, that's just to show that this goes with this row. How do you do that? Just hit the tab key. The tab key scoots it over. Is that your question? Yeah. Yeah, the tab key scoots it over. What I'm trying to show is that this table column goes with this row. So I indent a little bit. So what's our first day? Friday, I guess. So let's use abbreviations because we don't want to use up a lot of space. And then we'll put a closing TD tag. Yeah. Okay, so if I save this and now we go look at it. There it is, Friday. Yeah, looks okay. It's black and white, but so that's the first thing in our table. Now you might imagine that you would need the rest of the days of the week. So TD tag. It's Friday, so I have to get down on Friday. And then Saturday comes right before Sunday. You remember that Rebecca Black video? This is what it's all about. Yeah, what's the line from the song? It's Friday, Saturday comes after Friday, and Sunday comes right after that. So you get this nice tutorial on the days of the week. The worst song ever recorded.
Yay, okay, all right.
Except for Rick Astley's.
But, AC/DC.
Tuesday. Oh, TV. And then our fifth day is going to be Wednesday. Let's look at what we have so far. That looks pretty good. Yeah. No, this is one. Yeah. But I'm recording it so you can go back and listen to it if you missed the first part. Okay. So for now, let's just do the center until we get you don't want to use the center tag, but I don't have the alternative in my head right now. So now our next line is our pictures, right? We've got to do, yeah. So we figure let's go to the web, like one of the weather websites. Yeah, I think we'll use this one. Yeah, here they have the pictures. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we'll look at the picture and see what we get. Look at all that rain. Ugh. Yeah, so I would use the ones from KOIN. The reason I like them is because they're transparent. See that checkerboard in the back behind the cloud? That's called a transparent color, so anything you put it on, that the stuff behind the picture will show through. That's kind of what we need. So we're going to use that picture for our web page, right? Yeah. And it's a PNG file. PNG. So it's a little bit different name-wise. So you want to put that in your weather folder. What did you say, cloud? Partly cloudy? And then we go back to our web page. And in the next row, yeah, I tab in a little bit. And then we put in our image tag. I called mine partly cloudy.png. And then my closing TD tag. Closing tab. And then closing row. Save this and take a look at it. Okay, so there's our table so far. Now you'll note here that, you know, this is more like a heading, right? And it's not, it's on the left. It would be nice if it was in the center of the cell. So I would do this. Instead of doing a TD tag here, I'd do a TH tag. People ask me, what's the TH tag? And that's the table heading. So we replace all of these with TH tags, and what you'll get is something for free, which is nice. If I hit F5, notice TH tags are automatically centered. They're also automatically bolded, and it makes it look nice and professional. And you don't have to use the strong tag. You don't have to use the text align center thing. All you have to do is put a TH in there. So that's another tag related to tables, is the table heading. So then I go in and change all these to TH tags. Yeah. Now it's starting to look like a web page, right? So that's all I'm going to show you on this. I think I got you started. How to put a picture in a table, how to put text into a table. Again, we want the high temperature, the low temperature, and then the precipitation percentage. Finally here though, yeah, I'll be over. Finally, the last thing would be to put in the links to the other pages. So here would be Orlando. So you make that into a link. You'll have to wrap it. Once you have the other page made, then you can activate these. And here's Puerto Vallarta. I think it's in Jalisco. Yeah, so you'll make those into hyperlinks once you have those other pages to go to. Looking at our page. Okay. Maybe I put a break there.